The last and only time I can find that Edmonton and Calgary traded was actually in 2010. Steve Stamkos for Aaron Johnson. But then I went all the way back to 1979, and there's nothing. And just for fun, I also did Toronto and Ottawa, and they have one trade in 98, and that's it. So, it is extremely rare.
Who did they trade?
Edmonton and Toronto.
Toronto and Ottawa.
Ottawa. Yeah, you would ask me that. I went back to the Calgary Edmonton one to make sure I had that.
You don't have the other one in front of you? Yeah, okay, that's okay. I don't really care.
Yeah, I will in about 2 seconds. I got it. It was Per Gustafson, whoever the heck that is.
Yes.
For a 1998 8th round pick. Number 215 overall, Dwight Wolf.
Yes, the Wolfman.
The Wolfman. How could we forget that trade, really?
Yeah. I do not know
10.
either of those players. I have no idea. I've never heard their names before now. So
I'm going to click this link. Who the hell is Per Gustafson?
Per Gustafson.
He didn't even play. He didn't even play for anybody. The only NHL team he played for, I'm just doing this because it's freaking hilarious, is the 1981-1982 Colorado Rockies.
Wow!
He played 2 games and scored no points.
Why did they trade him? How do they have his rights still in 1998? What is he just
right? 16 years later? I have no idea.
Per, we got big news for you, buddy. We traded you to the Ottawa Senators.
She's like 50.
The Ottawa guy go back. Okay, Wolf, we got some good news for you, buddy.
He hasn't even been drafted yet. He's 18 and it's 1998. There's no link to his name. He probably died or something.
I don't even play hockey. I hunt. I'm a hunter, a sports hunter. He lives in Russia. Oh man,
oh my God.
That would be the. I would love to be there during that conversation.
Dwight Wolf is not never played in the NHL ever.
Ottawa is just like, well, sure, we'll give you Dwight Wolf. Toronto's like, ooh, Wolf. His last name's Wolf. He's got to be good. We'll take him. You're going to have Per Gustafson. Yay!
My stomach hurts.
I am so happy to be traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Per, are you in a wheelchair? No, I still got it. Don't worry. I don't know why I'm speaking French. He's Swedish, but okay. All right, we're moving along. That was a complete waste of time. All right, you want to talk about the 3 stars of the week?
Well, I only want to talk about the first star, and only
who cares?
Because you brought up the second one last week because he was a Canuck. But Carey Price gets first star of the week. 44 saves on 45 shots, 987 save percentage. So a couple games there. I think Mason got the second star, but he only played 1 game. He got a shutout, so that's good. But so hats off to Carey Price, playing well right now despite Montreal's struggles.
Yeah,
they're
you're
still in a
7th.
playoff spot, but it's not looking too good right now. 1 game above 500.
We're beating you in points. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I know, right? Well, we didn't really talk about it too much, but part of that is the differences in the standings here. I mean, you look at the East and the West.
Yeah, this is a great stat.
500 team in the playoffs, and Vancouver might as well be in second in the East. Like, it doesn't.
Yeah, no, that is the stat. Vancouver, who is 8th in the West right now, if they were an Eastern Conference team, even if they had Per Gustafson anchoring their first line, would be 2nd right now in the East. If Vancouver was an East Coast team, they would be 2nd place right now. So that just shows you the disparity. The West is best presently. They are kicking ass, and the East sucks. They're not doing well. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the reason for this disparity is.
Well, it's lopsided conferences, for sure it is. I mean, you got 16 teams in the East, so there's more games against your
what?
Opponent. There's more games against your opponents in that conference, right?
Is there, though? I mean, they've divided it pretty evenly.
Well, but I mean...
Maybe you're right. I don't know. I haven't really looked at it that way.
I'm pretty sure, because of it, Vancouver would play their conference rivals 1 or 2 extra times to make up for the fact that Montreal has to play. Because let's say you play everybody in your conference 6 times. So Montreal has to play 15 teams 6 times, but Vancouver only has to play 13 teams 6 times?
Yeah, but if the Eastern Conference is full of a bunch of shitty teams, wouldn't that make the teams that are good do better, and vice versa? The West Coast teams playing each other more, who are all good?
It's not. That's the thing, is the West's bottom is worse. I mean, like Buffalo is ridiculous. But you're looking at, oh no, they're about even.
No, the East Coast has 3 teams below.
Yeah, you're right, below 15 points, and the only one in the West. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not trying to say it's an excuse or that it's.
I think it's just weird. I don't know if there's an actual reason for it necessarily. Maybe it's coincidental.
It's got to. I mean, like you said, I'm not a mathematician, but the percentages are there. I mean, I'd love to do the math if I knew exactly what formula to do. But I mean, with 2 extra teams in your conference, there's got to be some. I mean, I know that on TSN before the divisions were realigned, they said that the teams in the West have a 7% likelier chance of making the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's also possible that the teams in the West are just better right now. I mean, they're all playing well. The teams in the West are all doing really well right now. The teams in the East are, at the moment, except for maybe Tampa and Boston, and to a lesser extent, Toronto and Detroit. Well, actually, Toronto, Detroit, and Boston are all tied right now. So besides those four teams are playing well. Yeah. But
I mean, and there's also 3 teams in the West have played more games than any team, except for the Sabres.
But then we'll touch on the standings now. And I mean, Pittsburgh, they're underachieving. They haven't been playing very well at the moment. I don't know. I can't explain that. I mean, I guess they're going through a bit of a slump. But
Philadelphia, we talk about lots too. As far as underachieving goes, they're. I mean,
Claude Giroux finally scored. Yay!
Oh, yeah. So, but I mean,
he is now tied with Mike Smith in goals.
Tampa, Boston is expected. Toronto, Detroit's new to the conference. But, I mean, the fact that Pittsburgh's name doesn't come up until 5th is bizarre.
Yeah. And Pittsburgh's underachieving. Montreal's not doing great at the moment. Washington, Ovechkin was out for quite a while. He's finally back, but that definitely didn't help them. The only guys in the East that are probably picking it up and starting to play really well are the Rangers. They've been playing great hockey lately. They're 9-9-0, but I mean, they were doing brutal for a while. They had a terrible start, won 2 of their first 9 games. Vigneault's finally...
And Tampa Bay's been tearing it too. I mean, obviously the Stamkos injury is going to affect how that's going, but they are 8-2-0 in their last 10.
Yeah, Tampa's playing great. The Rangers, I think, largely, we were talking about it in previous shows, how Lundqvist was really off of his game, possibly because of all the new padding and stuff. He looks like he's really found his form. He's been playing great hockey lately. Vigneault's probably not sweating bullets nearly as much. The Rangers are looking good. I think the Rangers are going to vault up the standings pretty quickly here, especially if teams like Montreal, Washington, and Pittsburgh continue to underachieve. You might see the Rangers bump up in the standings a bit. And let's not forget the Rangers are also tied with Ottawa and Carolina right now, so all 3 of those teams could shoot up in the standings a little bit, although Ottawa and Carolina aren't playing as well as the Rangers. If Montreal, Washington, and Pittsburgh continue to slide a little bit, the East Coast could look vastly different in even a couple of weeks from now. So it'll be interesting to really see how that pans out. Obviously, we hope that's not the case for your Canadians. You want your team to bounce back. And let's be honest here, both the Canadians and the Penguins are very good teams, so I realistically think the sliding will stop, and they'll probably raise back up a bit. But you could see a team like Washington probably fall a bit, as we were talking about before. A team like Tampa potentially could fall quite a bit with Stamkos out now, unless their goaltending continues to be stellar, which it may very well be. And then you compare that to the West, and from last week, the Western Conference is virtually the same. I mean, Chicago's moved up in the standings slightly. They're playing a little bit better. They've sort of turned their game up a bit. Phoenix is playing slightly better. San Jose's record actually has probably dropped the most. I mean, they're still tearing it, but...
You're so funny when it comes to Chicago. They've turned their game up a bit. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10.
What I mean is, like, they're, as a hockey team, they're just playing... They're playing a little bit stronger. I mean, they really looked like they were coasting there for a while. But they look like they're hungrier now. They look like they're starting to play more along the lines of what they played in the playoffs, which is terrible for Western Conference teams. We don't want that to happen because the Blackhawks are still the team to beat, in my opinion. San Jose, they went on a 5-game losing streak. Of course, 4 of those were in overtime, but nevertheless, San Jose has not played as well as they have in previous weeks. But other than that, I mean, the Western Conference looks pretty much the same.
Yep.
So, I mean, really, it's the East that is, I think, going to do the most moving. I don't expect the West to change that much in the next week until our next show. I would hope, as a Canucks fan, the Canucks move up in standings slightly. I really hate seeing us out as the 8th team, especially only 1 point behind LA, who we fully know are more than capable of passing us in the standings. So, I hope the Canucks regain their form a little bit. But yeah, I mean, all the really exciting stuff this week has been outside of the standings races and more along the lines of, the brutal injury to Stamkos and the GM's meeting, and yeah, it's been a pretty good week of hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jay.
It's been decent. I'm just melancholy because of Montreal's position lately.
Oh God, I'm depressed.
Well, we had the opportunity to take down the Tampa Bay Lightning, less Steven Stamkos, and made a rally to come back. We were only down 1-0, tied it late in the third, and then lost in the shootout because Carey Price just can't handle that crap.
Maybe you guys will get Per Gustafson and turn it up.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, on that note, I'm going to go watch some Per Gustafson highlights.
Nice.
All right. My name is Andy Cole.
My name is Justin Boniface. Thanks for listening.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks for listening to the BCIT Podcast Network. To hear more great internet radio in your ears, like us on Facebook at facebook.com/BCIT Podcast and follow us on Twitter at BCIT Podcast.